Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're zeroing in on a specific date in Grateful Dead history.
Yeah, we're looking at June 1st, 1991, the LA Coliseum show.
Exactly. And our source for this deep dive is a review from GratefulDeadBook.com. It's actually the only show they cover for this specific date.
And what's really interesting right off the bat is what the reviewer claims.
Oh, yeah.
They basically say, this is one of those rare shows where the first set, really outdid the second set. More energy, more, determination.
Huh. That is unusual. Usually you think of the second set as the main event where things get exploratory.
Right. And there's another layer too, Bruce Hornsby. He was playing piano for the whole show.
Okay, so his sound would have been woven through everything. The review definitely notes his contribution was a positive thing, right?
Absolutely. The source kind of suggests his playing really helped lift the whole performance.
Okay, so let's dig into that first set then. The review talks about how it kicked off with a shakedown street.
Yeah, and apparently a really charged one. High energy right from the start, it sounds like.
Nice.
Then, it slowed down a bit with Walkin' Blues, just for a moment.
The quick breather.
Exactly. Because then, according to the review, Bertha just snapped the energy right back, immediately.
So no letting things lag for long. Did that energy keep up? The review mentioned songs like Greatest Story, Candyman, Queen Jane.
Yeah, it seems like it did. The source calls those versions punchy and well-played, consistent energy.
And didn't it single out one of those? Candyman, I think?
It did, yeah. That's where it gets specific. Described as feeling particularly perfect, glowing with rich phrasing. That's pretty high praise for one song in a set.
Perfect. Wow. Gives you a real sense of that moment. Okay, so after all that energy, how do they wrap up the first set?
With Deal. And the description is great spinning with momentum, building up to this, full throttle climax.
Sounds intense.
And all through this set, the review keeps mentioning Hornsby's piano, adding flair, extra dimension, just at the right spot.
So the picture we're getting from this review is a really standout first set. Lots of energy, tight playing, plus Hornsby.
Definitely sounds like it.
Which leads to the big question. Could the second set match that after the break? How did it start?
It opened with Picasso Moon. And the reviewer actually notes, look, this song divides people, right? Some fans aren't huge on it.
Sure, yeah.
But this reviewer felt it worked well here, setting the stage effectively for what was coming next.
Okay, setting the stage. And then what came next?
Well, the sequence went Foolish Heart into Playing in the Band, then into Uncle John's Band.
A classic run.
Yeah, but the review suggests this part maybe leaned more towards restraint, compared to the first set's intensity anyway.
A bit more laid back, maybe.
Kind of, although they did specifically call out the transition from Playing into Uncle John's as a strong moment.
Yeah.
So good flow there.
Okay. What about the core improv section? Drums and space.
According to the review, they were solid, perfectly fine, but maybe didn't break any major new ground that night. Perhaps less of a highlight compared to other shows.
Gotcha. Standard fare for that part of the show, maybe.
Yeah.
So how did they bring it home after space?
Things seemed to lock back in. The closing run was Miracle, then Black Peter, into Throwing Stones, and finally Not Fade Away.
Okay.
And this stretch, the review says, had good, steady momentum pushing forward. And actually, the Throwing Stones into NFA part, that was highlighted as one of the more compelling bits of the whole second set.
So it finished strong, at least in that sequence. And the encore.
Standard Saturday night fare, one more Saturday night, good rock and roll energy to send people home happy.
Makes sense.
So yeah, overall, the review paints it as, a solid show. Some really great moments, especially that first set, even if the second half maybe didn't quite hit that same peak intensity level.
So wrapping up our deep dive into this GratefulDeadBook.com review, June 1st, 1991, LA Coliseum. It sounds like a strong 91 show, definitely boosted by Hornsby's playing.
Yeah, and the really unique takeaway is that feeling from the reviewer that the first set genuinely stole the spotlight. Which is pretty rare, right?
It really is. It makes you think about what goes into that kind of energy balance.
Exactly. And this review really helps you kind of zoom in on those moments, like that perfect Candyman or the climax of Deal that made the first set feel so powerful to the person writing about it.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want to find listening guides for this show and all the others we're looking at for On This Day in Grateful Dead History this week, just check out the link in the bio. It's got everything for this week in Grateful Dead history.
Definitely check that out. And maybe something to think about is, for a band famous for second set exploration, What makes a first set sometimes feel so complete, so charged that it ends up being the main memory? Was it song choice, that focused energy, or maybe that specific dynamic with someone like Hornsby? Lots to consider there.